Welcome to That Entrepreneur Life, a podcast about entrepreneurship that takes you from idea to launch and beyond. Each week, your hosts, Andrew Lees and Clint McPherson, discuss different business topics aimed at adding value to any entrepreneur's journey.
Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of That Entrepreneur Life. I'm Andrew Lees, and I'm usually joined by my co-host, Clint McPherson, but today he's out of the office, so I'll be flying solo. Let's go ahead and kick this thing off. I'm super excited to have Jaryd Krause on the show today. What's up, man?
Hey, man. Thanks so much for having me, Andrew. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Jaryd, it's great to have you on the show. But before we get into everything, I just can you tell us who you are and what you're all about real quick?
Yeah, for sure. My name's Jaryd. I'm a surfer. I'm from the Gold Coast in Australia. We'll just talk about that. Dig into our action sports and especially surfing. Also, entrepreneur at heart. And so that's who I am, I guess. I actually teach people to buy website businesses, scale them and run them and grow them.
Okay.
And the road to get there was awkward and windy and interesting, and it has been fun. It has been fun, but there's been some pretty hectic things to get past too as well. But I don't know where you want me to go with this intro. Do you want me to do the short hero story, or should we just crack into the episode?
Yeah, no, that's cool. Yeah, let's just crack into it. I'm sure it's kind of been an interesting ride for you, but it probably started before you started getting into the online business space. I'm sure it started your desire for being an entrepreneur started well before that. Can you dig into that and tell us about when your curiosity and excitement about entrepreneurship started?
Yeah, I think maybe when myself, my brother, and two of our friends who were also brothers, so there's four of us, we really wanted a boat when we were young. And there was like a sort of a river, not a river, but like a canal that was separated our homes as kids. And we wanted to buy a boat together, and we wanted to go fishing and like wakeboarding and all this sort of stuff. So we thought it was really cool because one of our friends' dads owned a boat. So we decided we would go around washing cars and vacuuming cars in our neighborhood, door knocking. And that's where it kind of started, I guess. And that led into me becoming a paperboy, running the paper around in my area, delivering papers. And then I got institutionalized into getting a job
to make money. Happens to the best of us.
And that's where it kind of started, I guess. And as I got institutionalized and I was working, I worked my way into being a plumber and supervisor, and realized that just wasn't I wasn't happy. I was not happy at all. Getting dictated by a boss, and I had some pretty cool bosses out there, but this was not a good boss. And I just didn't, it's ugly to think. I mean, you're probably similar now. It's like, imagine, it's hard. Like, I have to imagine it now. Imagine being in that position where somebody tells you, you have to be here at this time and you have to do this. And if you don't, I'm not going to pay you. You're not going to be able to eat and live. And I'm just like, whoa, that's crazy. Like, that's a while ago. And thinking about that now, I'm like, that's full on. To think about that. Yeah,
it is. Yeah, you said ugly, and it feels a little, it's weird, I mean, at some point we all have to do, there's some kind of responsibility that even as a business owner that we have, obviously. But just thinking about having somebody else dictating when and where exactly I have to be is pretty rough. I definitely don't like that thought.
Yeah, I have friends that like I will like want to go away somewhere and be like, just got to check, if I can have that day off, or, and weekends as well. It's like, whoa, like it's a different, I've removed myself from that life. And when you look back, and it's like, it's a tough one, and not everybody can be an entrepreneur. Like, it's not for everyone. It's like, you've got your times, that's for sure, that are not fun at all.
Oh yeah. Yep. Yeah. I mean, it's like it's a different set of responsibilities. It's a different, there's pressure. Just like there's pressure in a normal job, but it's different, I think. It's just kind of, and sometimes it's even more pressure. It's more, I mean, because at the end of the day, it really is like everything, buck stops at you as a business owner. All decisions come through you. Like, people are looking for you for the answers and to get things done. And if things aren't getting done by the rest of your team, at some point, sometimes you just have to do it yourself. So there's that you definitely have to consider. But I think that for me, it's like there's two things that really drive wanting to be an entrepreneur. It's the potential that does not exist at the same scale for most, normal jobs. I mean, there's huge upsides. There's some jobs that, you get paid a lot of money to do, but most of them really, and even the ones that you're getting paid a good amount to do, like from 1 month to the next or 1 year to the next, you might get a little bump, little raise, might get 3 to 6%, but you can't do 50% where you can in a business. You can't do 100%. You can't double your revenue and from 1 year to the next, period. And that's one of the things I love about entrepreneurship. And then even though there are some responsibilities and some kind of sleepless nights as an entrepreneur, being able to have more of that flexibility is so key, I think.
Yeah, I think that's a great point, is that glass ceiling of income.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's such a good point.
Yeah. So, well, Jaryd, with Krause Capital, which is a privately owned company, you focus on diversified international investments, predominantly with web properties. It was pretty interesting because you're not, when people think about investments and investing in things, they think about stocks, real estate, that kind of thing. Why did you decide to focus on web properties?
Yeah, the great question. And did you go away and Google that? That's interesting that you actually found that. Did you find my other site, Buying Online Businesses?
I did,
or was it just that one? Yeah, okay.
Buying Online Businesses, but I also found Krause Capital. So
yeah,
I did dig a little bit more for that one.
Yeah, I was going to say, I was like very impressed that you pulled that one out. So Krause Capital is definitely the company, and then I've got Buying Online Businesses under that.
Gotcha.
We teach and all that sort of stuff. But why? Yeah, that question. Why did I turn to buy website businesses? Like, what the hell? Well, I went down the route of like hating my job as a plumber, right? And kept quitting work and traveling. And on one of my trips, I found myself, I was living in Egypt as a dive master, and I was like, I can't go back to this life of work for somebody else and not like what I'm doing as well. And it's very unfulfilling. So I was like, I want to travel. That's my goal. I need to find out a way I can make money online. So I literally, Andrew, grabbed the laptop and I typed in how to travel the world and make money online.
That's awesome.
And that's where it started. Like, I started starting my own website businesses.
Okay.
And one was a travel blog. One was a e-commerce store. It didn't go so well. I didn't know much about digital marketing. I learned a lot about SEO through the blog and stuff like that. And then after just struggling around and trying to make it work as, a startup, I realized that I came across this stat that 90% of startups fail. So I was like, well, hang on, I know how to run these businesses, these websites. I've taught myself.
Yeah.
Why don't I just go away and buy one? And I had money invested in the stock market. Like you said, you can invest in stock market, real estate, and all these different things. And I took some money out of the stock market and I bought a website business. And that's how I got started, like, all right. And then I got a great return. I was like, this is amazing. So I bought another one and I just got hooked. I bought another one and it kept going.
Okay.
And that's when people started turning around and going, hey dude, like, when I was on my trips. So I traveled, quite a lot. I did about a year and a half surfing from the top of Mexico to the bottom of South America. And a lot of people were like, dude, you need to, like, you're not going home to work, or you don't have a job here. Like, and I'm like, nah, just doing my own thing. And they were like, what do you mean? Like, what's your own thing? Tell me. And try to press it out of you. And then a lot of people started saying, hey, dude, you need to teach me this stuff. So that's when I got into the teaching part.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure people, when you just explain top level that you've been on a trip for weeks or months and you're just surfing and like, and you tell people that you don't have a job to go back to, you're just, but then they find out that like, no, I'm self-funding this. This is, you know, I'm also, I don't have a job to go back to, but I'm also generating the revenue to support this lifestyle. That it's like, who wouldn't want to figure that out? I mean, that's super powerful. And a lot of people talk about residual income. I want residual income and, you know, mailbox money. They just want, you know, set something up and then
tag along.
Exactly. But it's not like it's that easy. There's definitely, there's definitely more upfront work to do. And usually that upfront work is in creating the online business, you know, because a lot of times a lot of people are creating them from scratch. So I think what you're doing is really interesting, where you're probably finding where the good values are. I'm sure you're not trying to like overpay for a website. I'm trying to figure out like, what's a website I can get into and not pay too much, but then start, you know, get a good return year after year. What's that process like? I mean, how do you find the right business to buy? And then how do you grow it?
Yeah, it's a good question. Yeah, there's a lot of work up front, especially in buying a site. And I think as an entrepreneur, maybe we can talk about mindset. I think that's probably more important than anything else, but we'll stick with those two questions of like, how do I work out what to buy and how do you grow it? So there's website brokers, just like when you're buying a house, you know, you've got real estate brokers, you know, where you can go on to, say in Australia, realestate.com.au, you can go in, you can look at all these different listings of houses for sale. It's the same with the online space. If you type in website brokers, you find these different type of website brokers. There's all these businesses, website businesses that are listed for sale. Now will tell you what type of business model they are, how much the business costs, like their asking price, what's their revenue, what are their expenses. You can work out what their net income is. You can work out what sort of hours are required to run the business, what is needed to be done to run the business. And you can choose these different website businesses based on your level of risk or skill or knowledge or passion towards either those niches or business models. And then once you narrow that down in your search, what I do is I teach, you know, people need a certain set of goals and a certain set of guidelines. So not just financial goals. These are obviously important. Financial goals are important. But what I think is more important is lifestyle goals. Like I got into this space more for a lifestyle thing rather than finances, because I'm huge on this thing, success versus fulfillment. A lot of people just want to make money and be successful,
right. More
or
money.
have this life. But I know a lot of people that have gotten that and just hated it and not been happy. So I'm about the success over fulfillment. And working out your lifestyle goals and your financial goals. And if you can look at those businesses and narrow it down to those ones that are within those guidelines and those goals, then that's when you start to do the heavy lifting and do the due diligence. So the due diligence is looking at different things like the SEO, the traffic, the marketing, the financials, and the competition research. And then when you cover all those things, and there's different questions you need to ask within each of those 5 things that I just mentioned. And I know I'm probably going through this quite fast.
Yeah, it's all good.
Then, and we can pick apart more of it if you want. Then once you've worked out and done some due diligence on those, then you can start to paint a picture if this is a good investment or not, based on the risk, based on what's involved with it, what's not involved with it. And then you make your decision after you've done your due diligence on what the site is valued at.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, there's a lot. We could definitely go into each one of those parts and really dig in. It's so I have we were talking offline a little bit about the business that I have called Grass Racks. It's an e-commerce business. We sell bamboo board and bike display racks for hanging your gear in your house or garage. And there's like a lot of where we've sort of automated as much as we can of that business. But if we ever decided to sell it, there's definitely some, like, I would say, like, relatively heavy lifting things that people would need, like responsibilities people would need to take on, like continuing to coordinate manufacturing, like, and keeping the manufacturing happy, working on the production schedule. And it's not like just, get sales and everything like flows perfectly, there's definitely some work to order material and coordinate manufacturing and all that kind of thing. And then actually, fulfill orders. And do you kind of usually steer clear of businesses that have that much work involved, or are some people looking for that?
Yeah. I mean, all problems are just opportunities in disguise. So each business may have a bunch of problems, and if you know how to solve them, then great. For example, in your business, if somebody's looking at buying, say, grass racks, and they're like, all right, cool. There's a lot of order fulfillment going on. There's a lot of customer support going on, and say, you as the business owner are already doing it mostly yourself. Then as myself, I could purchase this business and be like, cool, I can learn what your process is, right? This is what I would do if I was going to buy it. And you would just say, for example, you were doing everything yourself. I could purchase this and go, all right, what's your process for order fulfillment? How do you handle customer support? How do you do this? And then I would just basically record that through a Zoom meeting like we're doing now. And then I could just go, that's great. Here you go. I'm going to hire a VA. I'm going to create an onboarding sequence for the virtual assistants. And it could be a VA for order fulfillment. It could be for customer support. It could be for digital marketing, SEO, paid ads, whatever it is. And then I can just hire a VA to go, here's the process. This is exactly what you need to do. And then I've just solved a massive problem within maybe 2 Zoom calls with you or 3 Zoom calls with you. And then I would monitor what they're doing and ask them, like, if they would be a professional in each of those fields, in order fulfillment, media buying, or digital marketing, and also customer support. And I'd say, hey, what have you learned in your other experience, and how can we better this process? And we'll just develop this process to be really good and better for them. So you can have people that look for opportunities like that. I'm one of those persons that likes to look and see for those opportunities. Sometimes you got different buyers, like portfolio buyers, that just want to buy something that's like a turnkey business, they call it.
Right. They just sort of sit back and don't have to do too much for it. Yeah. And are those mostly affiliate type sites?
Yeah. So content websites. So that can be a content website is basically an affiliate type website, or affiliate website. Exactly. Yeah. Or an ads site, or a combination of both. And it's very, very easy to sit back and just not do too much work and maybe write a post here and there, or hire a really good content writer. You don't have to have them in-house, but you can have a consultant do that for you as well. And they're pretty easy to run, those. They're the sit back ones, and that's kind of a good business for people that are just starting out in this space to get started with. Yeah. So I think your question was like, are people looking for problems? Are people looking for business they can add value to, or are they just looking for a business that they can kind of sit back at? And it really depends on the person. Like, so I've got a mastermind for people that have bought businesses before and want to scale them, or want to buy more businesses and build a portfolio. And one of the guys in there is like, hey, I've got he's been in business for 25 years and bought lots of brick and mortar business. He's like, dude, I'm going to buy a lead generation business. And my strategy is just buy a lead generation business and pump all those leads into my traditional like plumbing and HVAC and electrical and trade type construction jobs or construction businesses. So there's very different strategy. Yeah, there's very different strategies in how you might want to go. For myself, like when we're building out a fund where a lot of investors are coming to us and saying, hey, dude, you know this space well, you buy businesses, you run them and grow them. Can you do that for me? Yeah. And so like our strategic thing in our fund will be where we can buy a content site, right, that has really good content in one niche. And in the same niche, we might buy a SaaS site or an e-commerce site and then push a lot of traffic to one another for value. And that way we can, build those businesses together and we can feed off each other. So there's very different strategic plays that you can do with businesses. But for somebody starting out, I'd definitely suggest going down a content site route, unless you know about digital marketing, and then work from there and start to build your confidence and your knowledge base from that.
Yeah, that makes sense. And that's awesome that you mentioned, kind of using one site to feed off the other, because that was going to be my next question. Exactly that. Do you, so it sounds like, because I think a lot of the people that I talk to, because I also have a product development consulting firm. So I help to, develop physical, mechanical products for people. So the people I'm talking to with that, they've got these great ideas, but the traffic part, getting customers is usually not their strong suit, So they may have a great product. I've actually got one of my first clients who I've actually been working with for the last several years, and I've helped him with some marketing, but unfortunately I'm not really able to dedicate a ton of time to it, to the project. But he's got an awesome product and it converts well online, but there's so little traffic. And, and obviously like traffic is that's the $1 million question, right? But I've talked to him before about, hey, if you create some content, and I can help with that, I can do some blog strategy and that kind of thing to help get him going with that. But it still ends up being, that's a ton of work, starting a blog and getting all that, even creating a video tutorial series or whatever.
Massive amount of work.
Yeah, which, that's definitely one way to do it. But this is really interesting where do you ever recommend to somebody who's got a product or an e-commerce business like that? Like, hey, let's look for a lead gen site for you that's relevant. This product happens to be in the fishing market. We'll find something that's generating a lot of interest and buzz around fishing, and we'll just send that traffic over to the product. So it sounds like that's something that you guys also do.
Yeah, for sure. In terms of that, if I was to answer that question specifically for your friend and his business, what I would first do is I would not try and just go out and buy a site, because there's another learning curve in terms of due diligence. Yeah. And then even when you do buy a site that's got a bunch of traffic, pushing them to this product, it may be better for that business to have a lead capture or a really good opt-in. In my trainings, I call it a kick-ass opt-in or kick-ass offer for free. So, for example, what I'd suggest is if he has a good fishing resource that of like the best ways to cast or something like that. If he was to create something like that where people like, this is absolutely amazing, and he over delivered in terms of it not just being a PDF, but if you did a video about it and also had an audio about it and had like a lead into like, this is how you do it, and it was just an awesome experience with their opt-in. People were like, this guy is legit. This is awesome. And this is what I do with mine. Like my resources are industry renowned. I guess, where a lot of website brokers are like, oh yeah, Jaryd's got good questions when it comes to due diligence and all that sort of stuff. And I hear that from my people that I work with, my clients, because I go all out in creating epic value. If you have something that's so good that people want to opt into, and when they do, they get a great user experience, then selling them into the next product of lure or a fishing line or pole or whatever it is just so much easier. And then when you do have traffic to send to that site, then with that, you've already got a way to capture them as a lead. So you don't need to keep bringing them in. You've already got this lead magnet and capture for when you do buy a site. And prior to buying a site where you can send traffic, is that if you were to just promote that kick-ass opt-in or that offer, and just do remarketing campaigns to it with ads and do some like one really good blog post with a good call to action and just posted that and put ads behind it on social media, then you've got a way that people can come and consume content. They can decide whether they want to opt in or not. And if they don't, then you can remarket to them anyway. So you can do that with paid ads, and you could spend the same amount on paid ads and get higher targeted traffic or better traffic than maybe even buying a site. And then once you get an ROI on that, you could have two traffic channels. You can have the paid ads, and then you can also buy a site that brings in that traffic as well. And that's probably the strategy that I would look at going down, and solving that problem in-house first before going out to buy a site. Yeah.
And would you do that primarily because that really allows you to really effectively build that kick-ass content or build that kick-ass lead gen, make sure that that's working, make sure that you're converting on that and getting, the leads, getting, a decent amount of leads before you go and make an investment in a site? Like you don't want to waste those leads. Is that kind of what you're saying?
Yeah, exactly. You don't want to bring people in, bring traffic into the site, and they'd be like, this is I'm going to leave. There's no value here. You want to test what works. You want to see what people are liking, what's gelling with them. But also it's a risk minimization strategy as well, in terms that you're paying for this traffic to come to your site. And, you might be heavy on paid ads, or you might be heavy on social media and getting that traffic to the site. You want to capture them so you don't have to spend money or create a whole bunch more, content and be in the SEO space where Google algorithms can change, all that sort of stuff. You want to capture those leads or people that have opted into a list, and you own that. And that's a risk minimization strategy for traffic, and also for remarketing, where you don't need to pay to put your ads, i.e. email, in front of somebody.
Right. Yeah. I mean, when you really look around at the different ways to advertise or to get traffic online or to market to people online, really email is by far the best. Obviously, you've got to get people to your site in order to get them on your list and then be able to remarket to them. But I mean, it's the only platform that you own. It's the only list of contacts of people that you actually own and that nobody else can do anything with. You have that list, you can download it onto an Excel spreadsheet, you can move it around to different web clients or, email clients, and doesn't matter. That's always going to be there. But Google's probably going to be around for a while, Facebook too, but you never know. And like you said, algorithms change. And so you don't want to be stuck. You want to get as many leads as you possibly can. So I really like that strategy. I like the idea of building your own content, and then also maybe down the road, when you have a little more traction, have a little more revenue, you can invest in another site like a lead gen site, and then you have that ongoing, traffic that you can either build that up as well or just let it go on autopilot. Yeah.
We could go into so many different strategies in how your friend could grow this business. I love it. This is my jam.
That's cool.
Just working on this stuff. It's cool.
That's so cool. Yeah. Well, and definitely want to figure out a little bit more about your journey to get it. Cause you definitely seem like you got this very well figured out. So one thing that I that I noticed was, that I read was, said you started your online business journey the hard way with blogging. What did you learn through that process, and that made you want to pivot to buying and selling online businesses?
Yeah, what I learned through that process was just, it was slow to get traffic and a lot of work. So for content sites, which a travel blog is, making money on either ads or affiliate links, is it can take a while for your content to get ranked and to get people to see it to be valuable enough to keep coming back to your site. And yeah, I just had to I didn't have a coach. I didn't have a mentor, which is so dumb and so stupid of me. Don't do what I did, guys. Make sure you get help, like professional help.
Yeah.
And not try and do it alone. Like a lot of people say being an entrepreneur is lonely, and it's only lonely if you let it be lonely. It's so dumb. It doesn't need to be lonely. And it's also stupid. Like I was stupid is I went the hard route and tried to do it all myself. So that's why it was really, really hard. And that's what led me to go, all right, well, I know I've learned how to run businesses, online businesses, and I have learned a lot about SEO, and learn a lot about digital marketing through that failed experience of starting my own dropshipping site or e-commerce site. And then I went, well, it's pretty hard to get traction in a business, and you can start a business and it can take years for you to get a return on your investment. And 90% of those people don't. So that's why I consider myself going the hard route, because I didn't know there was another route of buying something that has already been established and built. And when you buy a website business, you're buying an income stream, and you can achieve 100% return on your money back on average at the moment in 3 years. Okay. And that's, you can't say guarantee because anything can happen, but it's a proven system. And if you keep running it and maintaining it at that rate, which isn't too hard usually, then you are going to get your return back. Whereas the likelihood of you getting a return back in a startup is very slim to none. So that's why I consider, going alone and doing it that way was the hard route. It's pretty fascinating when you can go to website brokers and you can see, all right, if I buy this business in 3 years' time, I'll own the business outright, and everything else is like profit or, infinite ROI, money in the bank, and you could buy another site. And it's a different route.
Yeah. I mean, it's really interesting, because I don't think, I definitely didn't give it too much thought. I mean, I haven't given it too much thought until we've honestly been talking about it right now. But I mean, I've definitely thought about it before, but really not in terms of an like being an investor in that space. But that's really cool when you can use it for a few different things. I mean, you can use it to kind of build up a business you already have. So in that case, if you're doing it that way, if you're using it to kind of augment a business you already have, then even though you're not breaking even for maybe 3 years, let's say, on, revenue on that site itself, you might be breaking even, even earlier because of what you're actually, the value you're extracting out of it within that first 3 years. So I think
and the value you're adding to your other site as well. Like you can achieve a your quicker return on your investment with two sites than one, because you're feeding one from the other. And then it starts to get pretty exciting.
Yeah. That's really cool, man. There's so much to think about. So once I guess, at what point did you decide, okay, I think I know enough about this. Like you had gone through the process a couple of times, you had bought and sold business, online businesses. And at what point did you realize, hey, I can actually teach this, and I'd like to do that. That's something that I'd like to kind of take my career in that path and actually teach other people how to do this and kind of be a consultant that way.
I had bought my second business and I had quit my job. This is the point that I realized that I was like, all right, I can teach people this. And the point was when I got invited to a business retreat, and I wasn't speaking. I was just to be an attendee, but I got invited to go, and that was in Thailand. And so I went, and a lot of people there were like learning to start their own online businesses and to make money online. And so we were going on, doing this, like, it was a couple of day retreat. And then we were on like one of the last days. I'd spoken to a lot of the attendees. It wasn't a massive event. It might've been like 30 to 40 attendees. And they all started to get to know me. And on one of the days we went on a field trip, and on the bus, everyone was just like, I was sitting down the bus, and then somebody behind me would ask me a question, and somebody in front, and then somebody next to me. And then we started, talking about buying website businesses on the bus, and everybody was sort of gathered around, and we're having a good old chat. And people were like, can you just tomorrow, can you just get on stage and teach us this stuff? And I'm like, I was like, I could, and I'm a bit nervous, but it's not my event. It's not my place. And that's when I realized, like, all right, people want this. People can see value in this method. And then, I had a big trip ahead of me. So this was prior to this year and a half of surfing from Mexico down south. And so that's when I kind of just thought about it, and I created a course and a lot of content around it and a business around it. And then I kind of launched it when I came home. That was a turning point.
That's very cool. Yeah. And it sounds like people were, like when you have people organically just naturally coming to you and asking for something, I think that's such a cool thing, whether it's a product or a service. You really realize at some point the light goes off and you're like, oh, there's something here, there's something now that I can offer. And I think, there's a lot of things online about how to build a business online, how to do your own thing. And everybody really has, it's difficult for a lot of people. It really is like trying to,
so hard.
There's so many things to it, but trying to find, I think one of the hardest things for a lot of people is trying to figure out what is the value that they can bring to the world, and I think a lot of people undervalue themselves, and, it's just, but when you figure that out, it's huge.
Yeah. So agree. Like, a lot of people don't value themselves, and they just don't count. They just don't count their successes and their small wins, and don't realize that, like, what they know right now can be revolutionary to somebody's life. And if they just knew what that was, then they could wrap a business around it. And that's the only time that I suggest is starting a business. If you've got something that you are so passionate about, and B is going to really add value and help people and change, be a massive game changer for them, then I reckon you go all out on that. But if it's just like, hey, I just want to make some money and replace my income, which is a lot of people, like most people are just like, I hate my job and I wouldn't just replace my income, then trying to find that thing is really hard. And then also trying to learn how to start that and launch it and work it out is super hard. And that's why I reckon this method has a lot of people have gravitated towards it, is because they can buy something that's already got legs, and then from that, they can learn so much about digital marketing, all that sort of stuff, whilst it's already working. And they can go on to do bigger and better things. Yeah, it's so hard, like coming back to that thing of like, you start, it's really, really hard to find what that is. And I guess the only way to do that is to really try a bunch of things and see what sits in your gut and feels fun and feels good and fulfilling. Like if it's fulfilling to help that person with that thing, like for example, if you're helping your friend with his business and you're like, you helped him with some advertising campaigns or whatever it was, or creating the content, and you're like, dude, that was like, I felt so good doing that, and he got a great result, and he could see value in that, and I can see value in that, and it feels good, then people are going to pay you for that. And you're also going to be fulfilled doing that work. That's the key word, is being fulfilled doing that work. And that's, if you can notice that and be conscious of that, that's when the light bulb pops on for people, where, you know, this is what I should be doing. And this is the route that I should be taking at this moment in time. And that may change, you know, 5, 10 years, 20 years into the future.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's like those little triggers of like feeling like, okay, how am I helping people? How am I adding value? And is that fulfilling to me? And I think if you're conscious of those, then you can really work out like the route that may suit you best.
Yeah, exactly. And you had a good point about it. You know, maybe you you figure out what you are really passionate about right now, and it's something that sits well. I would let it sit for a while, probably, you know, let it sit for a little bit, make sure that it's still, you know, sleep on it a little bit for sure. And make sure that you're passionate about it and you're excited about it, you know, weeks or months down the road. Well, don't wait too long, obviously, but like really make sure that it's something worth your while and something that you want to go all in on. And that, you know, you could really, like, you'd be okay with spending some long nights figuring things out. And, you know, but I like what you said about it doesn't have to be forever. It could be 5, 10 years. You could choose something. You could pivot that business to something else. You could sell the business and buy another one or start another one. So there's options too. Like, I think sometimes people sort of think that, and I've definitely thought this myself, is like, okay, next thing I start, the business that I start has to be the thing that I see myself doing until like I'm 60 or 70 or more, you know? And it's just like, that's definitely not true. And you can end up spending a lot of time trying to figure that thing out. And the beauty of having your own business is it's an asset, and if you're growing it, you're building equity, and just like a house, you can sell it and you can move on to something else. So
I think you're spot on with the forever thing, like having a business and being in that business until I'm 60. It's like you're locking yourself into something you just know that you might not be happy doing. Things change, man. Like people get married and they're like, this is going to be forever. And the percentage of marriages that break up is huge. It's more than 50%. And you know, it's the same with it's probably a weird one to relate it to, but it's the same with business. You can't expect to be in that business for life, because you might end up having kids. You know, I've got a business partner that's like, hey, I've got kids. I'm gonna sell one of my businesses and just travel around. Yeah. And of course, like, your priorities change. Like, you want to be with your kid. Like, things change. Yeah.
Oh, totally. Yeah. Life rolls along, and, you know, business is kind of along for the ride. You know, at some point you really it's necessary. You've got to generate enough income to support yourself and your family. But yeah, things change with your life, and you need your set of priorities evolves. And so you need to do what you've got to do at any point in time. And yeah, sometimes it might be like, all right, this business, I've got 3 businesses and one of them is just dragging me down and I got to get rid of it. You know, it's just like, maybe it'll work out in 5, 10 years, but I can't wait that long. I just need to I need to have more time. And so yeah, it's an ever evolving thing. So, I mean, it's definitely important to figure out not bounce around too much, I think, you know, and not just go get sucked into the shiny object syndrome and just, all right, I made a few $1,000 over here. Cool. And I'll go over here. And like all of a sudden you've just got too many things going on. I think I definitely, I can be guilty of that sometimes, to where I'm like, oh man, I really want to, or I have been guilty of it in previous years, where I'm just like, I want to do this, I want to do that. I've got all these like really exciting things, all these things that I want to accomplish. And at the end of the day, you really do have to figure out at least a couple things you can focus on. I think it's cool to test some different things and realize, all right, that worked, this didn't work, whatever. But focus is also helpful.
Oh, focus is everything. Where your energy, where your focus goes, energy flows. And if you're focusing on too many things, like if you try to catch too many rabbits, you're going to end up catching none. Yep. A bird in the hand is worth more than two in the bush. All these different sayings. And I came from that same background as you, Andrew, like doing way too much stuff. And until I read, like, one of my mentors, he makes 60 mil a year. He threw this book at me, and he's just like, dude, you have to read this book. He threw it across the room at me in front of all these people at one of his seminars. It's called The One Thing by Gary Keller. It's a bright yellow book. And it's just talking about, focusing on the one thing. And once you got that one thing settled, then you can start to, move on to the next thing once you got it automated or you're past that. So focus is everything. Yeah.
Yeah. I love that. I've definitely tried to embrace that. I haven't read that book, but I should definitely check it out. But I've definitely tried to embrace that, where, because you see the results when you focus in on something. And even if you do have a few things going on, if you're able to say, all right, I can spend this much time on this task, this much time on that task, and you do it, until it's complete for the most part. I mean, there's certain things that you take a while, you got to kind of chip away at over time, days or weeks. But for the most part, you get done what you need to get done. You focus on something and you try to not let everything else, all the other noise, all the other things you have to do, get in your way. And it really makes a huge difference. And then focusing on the things that actually move the needle for you, for whatever that is, that's so important, because I think we all get trapped in, oh man, I was so productive today. And then now what I do is, even if I feel like I was really productive, I'll think back, what did I do to get closer to my goals? Because I may have done a lot of things, I may have accomplished a lot of things, but were the things that I did actually getting me closer to my goals? And if they're not, then you might, and they're consistently not getting you closer, then I think that's like a red flag.
Oh man, nail on the head is like just doing work for the sake of doing work and being like, oh yeah, I'm so busy at the moment. Like,
right.
I speak to so many people and like, oh, how's things going? How's business? Like, oh yeah, it's good. Excuse my language, but I'm just like, I don't want to be busy. I want to have methodical time to think about like what I should not be doing.
Right.
And the one thing that I should be doing. What's the one thing that I need to focus on? That's because it's the 80-20 rule that we all know about. We all know this theoretically, but nobody takes this specific, precise action in doing just that and not doing. Like the key is like in what you give up, what you say no to, what you discard. And then just definitely. Like I have 2 full days a week that I do nothing but think. There's this really good book called you know Rich Dad Poor Dad, right?
Yeah.
His mentor, do you know who his mentor is?
I don't.
His mentor's name's Keith Cunningham.
Okay.
And he has this book called The Road Less Stupid, and he schedules in thinking time, and the whole book is about thinking time for your life and for your business, and solving the problems, the most important problems that need to be solved in your business. And that's where I got this from, is like Thursday and Fridays are my days where I might do a little bit of work in the morning, like in terms of like emailing and stuff like that, but I'll sit down and I'll have thinking time, where I'll just lay on this couch and I'll just think about like, all right, what am I doing that I should not be doing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it might be like yesterday we just decided, all right, I'm trying something on YouTube with producing, putting out more content on YouTube. And I did it last week and I got a great result. In 1 week, I was like, wow, cool, that's cool. Now I can't keep doing this because it was monotonous work. It was like breaking down videos and doing stupid things that I shouldn't be doing. So I gave it to the team yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm always working out what am I doing that is an important task, but not important enough that I need to do it. And I've nailed it down to like what I need to do, the only things that I need to do for this to go well and grow. And there's only a small amount of things that I need to do that only takes a small amount of my work week.
Yep.
And eventually over time, I'll be able to replace that and, work on higher level things as I go. And I think a lot of people, it's really hard for people that are listening to know what they should be doing and know what they shouldn't be doing.
Mm-hmm.
Because we've got a world of content out there on Google and everywhere else where we're told to do that we need to do this and that, we need to do everything. But when we stop and we have somebody that says like, this is what you don't need to do, and this is the only things that you do need to do, that's when we have a higher chance of being successful in our startups or our businesses and in our life, really. So when I'm hiring a coach or a mentor, I'm not hiring them only to tell me what to do and to only focus on, but also what not to do as well.
Yeah.
I think that's really important.
That's so important because especially when you grow a business, you have more and more things to do. Like the amount of responsibilities grows, you're scaling up, you've got more clients to deal with. And so if you're not careful, you just have no more time, or you're, working 12, 14-hour days every day, and then you're just totally burnt out by the weekend, or maybe you're working straight through the weekend. And we all have to do that at some point, usually. It takes a lot of time to start something. And in the beginning, a lot of times you have to do the things yourself. But then I think like you said, it's so important to figure out what you don't actually need to do and delegate that. I mean, get that off your plate. And then I love the idea of working on a higher and higher and higher level where you're not like in the weeds on a daily basis, because at the end of the day, if it's your business and you're trying to grow it, probably the number one most important thing that you're dealing with, or that you should be dealing with, is business development. How do you get more business? That's like number one. Maybe you put customer service right next to it, but like you can also outsource that too. But the business development should always, and growing the business, that should always fall on your shoulders at the end of the day, I think.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. So I've got a friend, Dave Jennings, who helped rewrite the book, The E-Myth. Not sure if you heard of The E-Myth by Michael Gerber. And Michael Gerber says that you should, and The E-Myth is like, it's one of the best business books around. And he says that you can't just work in your business. You need to work on your business.
Yep.
So those where you can take out the time of like the customer support, the order fulfillment, the marketing, and it's hard. It's really hard to give these things up when you're starting out. Like it's really hard to go, is somebody going to do this as good as me? Yep. Or is it going to be done the right way? Or like, I can't give that up because I just need to make sure I've got control over it. All these little things.
Yeah.
And it's so hard to give them up. I get that because I've been there. But if we're only working in our business, then we can't work on that development stuff that you said. We can't work on our business. And that's the only way to grow the business, is working on the business.
Yep, exactly. Yeah. Otherwise you're kind of building, if you're working in the business, that's definitely doable, because what you're doing there is you're basically creating a job for yourself. So, you've sort of created this business, which you own, which is better than not owning. That's cool. But really you're just creating this thing that you do every day. You're working in it. You're not really growing it, or if you are growing it, it's just sort of, marginally or whatever. And yeah, so I love that about, and some people, maybe that's what they're comfortable with, and that's fine. But if you really are trying to take your business to the next level all the time, then you kind of can't get stuck in it. And I feel there's so many times, especially in my consulting business, where I've just felt like I'm so in this right now, and right now I need to be, but I can't wait to be, working on the business instead of just being in this. So that's a transitional thing that I've been working on actually recently is building a team of engineers who can help me so that I can, I don't want to do the engineering work every day. And not just because I don't want to do engineering every day, but also because I want to, grow a business, and it just can't be done any other way. And it's not even fair to at some point, because I think what's interesting is some people are afraid to give up and delegate the work. But at some point, it's not even fair not to do that, because like for my consulting business, if I take on too much business and I'm trying to do it all myself, I'm going to start to have pissed off clients, because I'm just,
you can't scale that. Like you
right.
can't grow, you can't take on any more clients as well. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and trying to just balance, well, okay, I'm only going to take on 3 to 5 at a time and just do it myself. And that's tough too. Cause then you're really like, you're constantly hitting the accelerator because it's feast or famine. Especially when you're hovering in those really low numbers. So you're like, oh, I have 0 clients right now. I got to go get some. Then you go and you get like 8, and you're like, oh man, there's too many. Now I'm super busy. And then you're just constantly hitting the throttle, hitting the brake, and you can never just really let the thing take off. So yeah, I mean, I love that. So Jaryd, what do you think the hardest thing about being an entrepreneur is?
Discipline. Yeah, I think that's the hardest thing is being disciplined enough to schedule your day, to schedule your life, to not let your work, if you're working from home, not let your work be a part of what you do when you're with your family, or when you have people over, or when you're just doing stuff around the house, is like have clear boundaries on when you're working and when you're not working. Yeah. And just the discipline to get the tasks done. Like, sometimes we'll have more priority tasks that we don't want to do. And we leave them to the last minute and we put them down the bottom of the list. The discipline to get them done first, and anybody that has any level of success has some level of discipline, in my opinion. Even artists are like, if they want to be good, they're still creators, they're still artistic, but they'll push themselves to constantly create, even when they don't feel like it. And as entrepreneurs, I feel like we're artists as well. And we need to be disciplined in that sense, that we need to just, we need to have clear boundaries. We need to be pretty concise on what we've got to get done for the day. Also, be disciplined enough to have time off.
You gotta be balanced, right?
Yeah. And I'm sure you've struggled with this. I have certainly struggled with this hugely. But yeah, that discipline, I think that's probably the hardest thing in being an entrepreneur.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. And one of the things you said I really liked is discipline is doing the things that you have to do when you don't want to. I think like discipline really, that's kind of what it feels like to me is it's like, okay, I don't want to do this right now, but I have to do it. And so I'm going to push through it. And then a lot of times once you get through it, on the other side of that, it's a great feeling, because you were just powering, you were just pushing through, got to get this done, pushing through. And you didn't maybe feel so great about it while it was being done, or maybe you didn't even feel like you were doing a great job. I feel that sometimes, where I'm I'm not feeling it. I'm pushing through it, and it doesn't feel like I'm doing my best work. And then on the other side of it, I'm like, oh, actually, that turned out really well. Like I just wasn't in the right frame of mind to appreciate what I had done because I wasn't, excited about doing it. But yeah, I definitely agree. And as entrepreneurs, there's so many different things we can be working on. And we can say, once again, we can say, oh, I was productive. I was getting things done that I needed to do, but really maybe not the high priority things. And maybe you sort of skirt around those as long as you can. And then they kind of bite you in the butt at the end of the day. So.
Yeah. Not only do they bite you in the butt, but like, I'm sure you've had this as well, where you've got this tasks or this thing that you need to do, and you're just dreading it. And you're just like, oh yeah, fuck that. I don't want to do this. Yeah. And the longer you leave that and you don't just get it done, the more anxiousness and stress around it that you build up. And it's just
for sure
not good for yourself or the business or the person that's involved. And
it holds you back, and it gives you a level of anxiousness for the other things that you're doing. So
that's right.
I can tell that. I can feel it when I'm doing something I shouldn't be doing, because I'm just like, I feel anxious and I'm sort of trying to rush through it. And I'm like, you know what? Let me stop this right now, because this can wait, but go back and finish what I actually need to do. And that's very hard to do, but I think I love that. I think it's something that we all kind of have to work on and try and get better at as we go.
Yeah, I think it's not something that happens overnight. That's for sure. You mentioned, we just need to keep working on it.
Exactly. Well, Jaryd, man, it's been awesome having you on the show. I feel like I could talk to you for, I say we, I'm used to saying we with having Clint here, but I mean, I could definitely talk to you for a while. We'll have to have you back. But before we go, one more question. If there's just one piece of advice you could give our listeners, what about, that could help them on their entrepreneurial journey, what would that be?
That's a good question.
I mean, the discipline thing is huge. That's
yeah. Whilst I think about that, I just want to say thanks so much for having me, Andrew.
For sure.
And I'd be more than happy to come back. And I feel like we could continue for another 2 hours.
Yeah. We'll have a Joe Rogan style interview here. We'll just start talking about whatever, whatever comes to mind: surfing, entrepreneurship, whatever.
Yeah. So the one thing is that the one piece of advice I'd give to an entrepreneur.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It could be one. I mean, like one really, key thing you think. I mean, there's so many things that we all need to consider, but like what do you think like one key piece of advice is?
If you have a goal and you know what that goal is, think about what that lifestyle goal would be and that financial goal would be. And then find somebody that has achieved that and pay them to help you. And pay them to they've already paved the way for you. Just pay them to show you that path and to show you the nooks and crannies to look out for so you don't trip along the way, and to put the bumpers up where you need the bumpers up so you don't fall off that track. And learn from, you don't need to recreate the wheel. Learn from somebody that's already done it, and their teaching style suits you, or their vibe suits you, and you feel like you could have a good relationship and connect with that person, and you trust them. I would say that's the best piece of advice that I got when I was sort of coming into this space that I didn't take, and it stuck me for years. Like I bought into this thing of like, I'm going to be the self-made millionaire. Woohoo. Right. And like, I'm going to be the solo entrepreneur. And it's just dumb. It's just so dumb, because you try to do it yourself and you stuff up, And if you look at anybody that has any level of success in life, is that they've got a team, they've got a coach, they've got a mentor. And I know the people listening to this and they've heard it all before, but just let this time, just let it sink in and just sit with it and feel it and really consider is this the right thing for me to do, to get a mentor, to get somebody to help me, to get somebody to coach me, to tell me what to do and what not to do.
Yep.
Because I wish, I would have superseded my journey by years, like many, many years, if I had have just put my money where my mouth was and went and bought and hired that mentor and found that person.
I agree.
Yeah. That's probably the best, or the one piece of advice. If I was just to give one, I'd say, go down that route and get help. Put your hand out.
Yeah, I agree. And I think there's a lot of people out there who want to help too. I think, kind of think of business, other business owners as maybe, they kind of keep to themselves. If they're successful, they're not going to share their secrets. And sometimes, sometimes the secrets, first of all, aren't like mind blowing. It's just like, oh, I didn't even think about it. That makes sense, but I didn't even think about that. It's not anything super crazy. And I feel like there are plenty of people out there who've been successful, who want to help, who want to share their advice, who there's no reason that, there's no reason that you can't get something from them, and that they can't also feel very fulfilled and satisfied by helping you out, and whether you pay them or whatever. But yeah, I agree with that. I think definitely, if I knew what I know now about business, and starting new businesses, it just gets easier and easier. So if I started Grass Racks over again, my business partner, Evan, and I, we could get to where we are now so much quicker. And we still have a lot to learn, I think. But yeah, for sure. We would have shaved a lot of time and money off of the front end and a lot of frustration. And yeah, I definitely agree with that.
Yeah. Cool.
Awesome, man. Well, guys, that's a wrap for this episode. Jaryd, I want to thank you for taking the time out of your day to joining me and adding value to what we're doing on our podcast.
Thanks so much for having me, Andrew. I thoroughly enjoyed it. And awesome. I look forward to, even if we don't do another podcast again, I look forward to chatting more again in the future with you. Yeah. That
would be great. Yeah, we'll definitely stay in touch. So guys, thank you so much for listening to That Entrepreneur Life. To learn more about what Jaryd is working on, check out buyingonlinebusinesses.com. If you like what you heard today, make sure to subscribe to our podcast on iTunes or any other major podcast directory. You can also find us on all the socials and on our website at thatentrepreneurlife.com. And with that said, we also want to quickly give a special shout out to our family and friends, to include all of our listeners, followers, and subscribers. If you find value in our show, please consider making a donation. Even just a few dollars helps us keep things moving and bring value to your entrepreneurial journey. Thanks for continuing to support what we do as entrepreneurs. And don't forget to join us next week for another episode of That Entrepreneur Life. Awesome, man. That was very
Entrepreneur Life Podcast. Be sure to visit thatentrepreneurlife.com to join the conversation, access our show notes, and discover our fantastic bonus content. Don't forget to join us next week for another episode as we continue to add value. Until next time.